Stop scrolling, because today's video might put real money in your pocket. We're talking about Jefferson nickels, and most people have no idea that ordinary change sitting in a jar, a drawer, or your wallet could actually be worth far more than just 5 cents. Some of these Jefferson nickels have surprised collectors with shocking prices, and the stories behind them are even more valuable. So if you want to know exactly what makes certain Jefferson nickels rare, how to spot the key dates, the hidden mint details, and the real market value that American collectors are paying right now, then stay with me all the way through this video. Every second matters, because you don't want to miss the nickel that could change everything. And before we dive in, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with anyone who loves coins or wants to learn how to find valuable Jefferson nickels hiding in plain sight. Let's get started. This one's important. First up, the 1974 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark might look like an ordinary pocket coin, but it has surprised collectors with real value and hidden rarity. When people hear about valuable coins, they usually think of old silver or rare mint errors. But the 1974 Jefferson nickel from Philadelphia challenges that idea completely. Even though this coin was minted in massive numbers, the right 1974 no mint mark nickel can sell for thousands of dollars. And that's exactly why collectors across the United States are keeping a close eye on it. This coin teaches one of the biggest lessons in American numismatics. Sometimes the most valuable coins are hiding in plain sight. When we talk about the 1974 Jefferson nickel, the first thing to understand is the sheer mintage. Philadelphia struck well over 600 million of them, which means most people assume it has no special value at all. But serious collectors know better. The value isn't in the year alone. It's in the condition, the strike, the sharpness of detail, and especially the famous full steps designation. On the reverse of the coin, underneath Monticello, there are 6 steps that are supposed to be fully separated and sharply defined. Most 1974 Philadelphia nickels came out of the mint with weak strikes, meaning these steps are often blurred, merged, worn, or simply incomplete. That weakness makes full steps examples extremely difficult to find. And this is where the value begins. The 1974 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark becomes valuable when those steps are crisp, untouched, and fully visible. Collectors call these FS, full steps, and that simple difference can turn a 5-cent coin into a high-value collectible. In fact, the highest recorded auction price for a 1974 P. Jefferson nickel with full steps reached approximately $4,230, proving that even a common date nickel can bring real money when it appears in top condition. That record sale stands today as a reminder that condition can be a form of rarity, even when the mintage is high. Now, to spot a valuable one, the first thing you need to do is examine the Monticello steps. Look closely under good light or a magnifier. You should see all 6 steps clearly separated without breaks, blends, or worn areas. Even a tiny flattening can mean the coin won't qualify as full steps. The full steps designation is strict because it represents the highest level of strike sharpness. Many 1974 nickels left a mint with soft detail, so collectors prize examples that show strength and precision. But full steps alone isn't enough. The overall condition matters just as much. A 1974 no mint mark nickel must also show bright luster, clean fields, minimal marks, and no wear on the high points. Coins that were never spent and remained in mint state condition can reach MS64, MS65, MS66, and occasionally higher. Once a coin reaches MS66 with full steps, that's where the real premium starts to build. These coins are so rare that even specialized collectors spend years searching for them. That's why the one that hit $4,230 at auction made news in the Jefferson nickel community. It wasn't just the grade. It was the combination of grade plus full steps, plus rarity of sharp strike, plus the fact that extremely few exist in that condition. To understand why these coins are scarce in high grades, you have to look at the minting conditions of 1974. Philadelphia's presses produced massive quantities, causing weaker strikes on many coins. Dies wore down quickly. Striking pressure changed throughout the year, and quality control wasn't focused on creating perfect details for circulation nickels. Most coins were simply made to be used, not collected. As a result, even though millions were produced, only a tiny fraction have the bold strike necessary to produce fully separated steps. This is exactly why American collectors love searching through rolls and old change. You can have jars full of nickels, but finding one 1974 with a sharp strike, undamaged surfaces, and complete full steps is like finding a hidden treasure. The thrill of discovery makes this coin especially popular among roll hunters and hobbyists who enjoy searching bank boxes or old collections for coins that others overlooked. Let's talk about what your coin might be worth depending on condition. A typical 1974 no mintmark nickel in circulated condition is usually worth face value or maybe a small premium. In uncirculated condition without full steps, the value can go up slightly, sometimes a couple dollars, sometimes more depending on grade. But when you get into the MS65 and MS66 range with full steps, the price jumps into the hundreds, and the top examples break into the thousands. The market shows clearly that collectors pay far more for the perfect combination of high grade and strike sharpness. Now think about the journey of a coin that ends up selling for $4,230. It had to survive decades without being spent, without being dropped, without being stored in a humid space, without rubbing against other coins, all while retaining sharp detail from a strong initial strike. That's not easy. That level of preservation is what makes the highest grade full steps coins so valuable. They are rare not because of mintage, but because of survival. When examining your own coin, always start with the steps, then look at the luster. A mint state 1974 should have a flowing, original shine that moves smoothly across the surface when you tilt the coin. If you see dullness, scratches, or signs of wear on Jefferson's cheek or the high point of Monticello, that means it's circulated and will not reach top value. The fields, the open flat areas, should be free of big hits, gouges, or spotting. The fewer marks, the higher the potential grade. Collectors also watch for die cracks, die polish lines, and minor variations that can add character to the coin. While these don't necessarily guarantee big premiums, they can help identify early die states that sometimes produce better strike quality. But again, value is always highest when the steps are perfect and the surfaces are clean. Another important fact for American collectors is that full steps coins from the 1970s are particularly tough. Unlike peacetime nickels from earlier decades or more recent coins with improved production methods, many 1970s nickels show soft detail. That makes full steps examples from this era stand out more. Whenever a new MS66 full step specimen appears for dates like 1971, 1974, 1978, or 1979, collectors immediately pay attention. The rarity is real, and the competition can be strong. What makes the 1974 Jefferson nickel especially interesting is that it's not a key date in the traditional sense. There were no mint shortages, no special varieties, no silver composition, and no intentional changes. Its value comes entirely from the quality of the coin itself. That's why the phrase common date, rare condition, describes it perfectly. And coins that fit this category often capture the interest of investors who want long-term appreciation. A coin that once sold for over $4,000 may sell for more in the future as population numbers remain low and demand grows. Many collectors also appreciate the American symbolism of the Jefferson nickel. It features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, the third president of the United States, and his iconic home, Monticello, on the reverse. The coin represents American heritage, architectural beauty, and decades of history. The fact that a 1974 example can be worth thousands adds a modern twist to that heritage. It connects everyday currency to the world of rare collectibles, and that connection is powerful for viewers and collectors alike. If you're searching rolls or boxes, here's how to increase your chances. First, always inspect coins under bright, angled lighting so the steps are easier to see. Rotate the coin slowly and look for breaks or flattening. Second, use a simple magnifier. Even a 10x loop works perfectly to check the line separation on the steps. Third, examine multiple coins and compare them. The more coins you look at, the better your eye becomes at spotting the rare traits. And fourth, keep your best candidates stored properly, so their surfaces remain pristine. The 1974 no mintmark nickel also teaches a valuable lesson about assumptions. Many people think newer coins can't be worth much, but in the coin collecting world, date doesn't always determine value, condition does. A flawless 1974 can outperform a worn 1940 in terms of price. That's why knowledgeable collectors study minting history, die states, luster patterns, and strike quality. They know rarity comes in many forms. Another important point is that the market for Jefferson nickels remains strong. Collectors love the series because it's affordable, accessible, and full of hidden surprises. Beginners can start with roll hunting, while advanced collectors chase full steps coins in high grades. This creates a broad market with steady demand. When a 1974 full steps nickel sells for thousands, it energizes the entire community and inspires others to search. When you tell someone that a nickel struck in 1974 sold for over $4,000, they often react with surprise. But when they learn why, sharp strike, perfect surfaces, complete steps, they begin to understand how much detail goes into grading and evaluating coins. It also encourages more people to pay attention to their own pocket change. That's why videos about coins like this are so powerful for American audiences. People love the idea of finding value where others don't look. So, if you're holding a 1974 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, take your time with it. Study it carefully. Look for the signs of a strong strike. Check the steps. Examine the luster. Imagine the possibility that the coin in your hand could be far more valuable than anyone expected. You never know. You might be holding a piece of American coin history that stands out from millions of others. And remember, the most valuable one ever recorded sold for about $4,230, proving beyond any doubt that this coin has real value when the right example appears. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned collector, searching for that perfect 1974 Jefferson nickel can be exciting, rewarding, and inspiring. Coins like this remind us why the hobby continues to grow in the United States, because hidden treasures are still waiting to be found. Next up, the 1964 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark from the Denver Mint might look like a simple 5-cent piece. But in the world of American coin, collecting it hides serious value and compelling stories behind its basic design. Millions were minted. In fact, the Denver Mint release of 1964 numbered in the billions, which means most people assume these coins are worthless beyond face value. But for savvy collectors, the 1964 D Jefferson nickel becomes a treasure when certain conditions are met. If you have one, you should stick around and watch carefully, because you might be holding more than just a nickel. First, let's set the scene. The 1964 Jefferson nickel was struck at the Denver Mint with the D mint mark clearly on the reverse to the right of Monticello. With such a massive mintage, over 1.8 billion from Denver alone, the coin is often overlooked. When a coin has that kind of supply, collectors might think there's no hidden value, but that's where strike quality, condition, and specific characteristics come into play. Let's dive into those characteristics. One of the key premium traits for this coin is the full steps designation on the reverse of the coin featuring Monticello. Though full steps is more often discussed with other Jefferson nickel years, condition and strike sharpness still matter for 1964 D. On many 1964 D examples, the details are weak. The steps under Monticello are soft or worn, and wear from circulation further degrades any collector value. That means finding a high-grade example with crisp detail and minimal wear is rare and will catch collector attention. So what does valuable mean in this case? For a circulated 1964 D Jefferson nickel, most will still be worth just face value or a small premium, maybe $1 or a few dollars if it's in uncirculated condition. But when you move into mint state, MS grades, and especially when you combine that with exceptional strike and surfaces, the value jumps significantly. As one example, auction data show that a 1964 D business strike Jefferson nickel graded MS66 with FS full steps sold for approximately $6,325. That is a striking number. That means a coin essentially worth 5 cents in change can, in the right condition, sell for thousands of dollars. And for collectors watching the market, the highest recorded auction price is around $9,900 for a 1964 D. Jefferson nickel MS67FS. Those top figures demonstrate the ceiling of what this coin can command when all the right attributes are present. Now I'll walk you through how you, a viewer, a coin owner, or a collector, can examine a 1964 D. Jefferson nickel and determine whether yours has serious potential. First, examine the surface and strike. Look at Monticello on the reverse. The steps leading up to the building should be clearly defined. If they're merged, flat, or show wear, then the coin is more common. Next, check for overall wear on high points. If the obverse shows Jefferson's cheek flattened, if fields have dings or heavy contact marks, that will reduce value drastically. Then look at the luster. Big deal collector coins have original mint luster. They look fresh, not dull or retoned badly. Finally, evaluate the strike strength and the mint mark area. Crisp D mint mark. No doubling or obvious blemishes. All of these things contribute. Let's put this into market context. Because the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel was very common, condition matters far more than date. The common date, rare condition, rule applies strongly here. Many uncirculated 1964 D coins without exceptional strike trade for modest premiums, tens to low hundreds of dollars, depending on grade. Value guides show that MS65 examples may trade for a few $100s, while MS66 and above with top surfaces, strong strike, and maybe full steps can reach into the low thousands. Therefore, you must be realistic. You might own one, but unless it ticks multiple boxes, it may still be common. But if you do have one in gem condition, you are in a special category. It's also vital to consider survival. How many exist in those top grades? With such a large mintage, many coins entered circulation, got wear, were bagged, handled, dropped. The ones that survive today in mint state with strong strike and little contact are greatly reduced in number. That scarcity of high-grade survivors is what underpins the high auction numbers. One coin that sold for $9,900 at auction was among the very finest known. And any discovery of a new MS67 or MS68 1964 D. Jefferson nickel might excite the market and push values higher. For American collectors, especially, this coin holds appeal not just for value, but for the story. The 1964 coins come from the era of expansion of the United States Mint, the Denver facility producing vast numbers of coins for circulation. The notion that a common piece of pocket change from 1964 could be worth thousands is thrilling, especially in a country where everyday coins often get ignored. It's the kind of story that draws new collectors in. Check your change, examine old coin boxes, dig through inherited collections. You never know what might be hidden. Now, let's imagine the scenario. You open an old coin roll or inherited jar and pull out a clean 1964 D. Jefferson nickel. You look at it under light. You see almost no wear, sharp detail on Jefferson's hair and year, crisp fields, deep original luster, and on the reverse the steps of Monticello appear separated and clear. You suspect it's MS65 or MS66. You send it to a grading service, and it comes back MS66 with FS or equivalent notation. At auction, that coin might snag several $1,000s. If it were MS67FS, you're looking at the $9,900 top record benchmark. If it were even rarer and finer, potentially more. So you're pulling that one coin from change might have changed your collecting game. I also want to emphasize the practical advice. If you think you have a high-grade 1964 D. Jefferson nickel, protect it. Do not clean it. Store it properly in a holder to avoid contacting other coins. Avoid toning or handling that could affect grade. Document it with photos. Consult a reputable coin dealer or grading service. Because the premium difference between just uncirculated and gem uncirculated MS66 plus with top surfaces can be orders of magnitude. That means cost of grading might be worth it if the coin qualifies. Let's also talk about risk and realistic expectations. For every coin that sold for thousands, there are many similar coins that did not meet the premium standards and sold for far less. Guides show that full steps designation and high grade dry value, but many 1964 D pieces are still trading for face value or modest premiums. So, while hope is good, be objective. Check yours carefully. Compare with known high-grade examples. Consult census data or auction result histories. If yours doesn't match top quality, it may still be a nice example, but not a gem. In summary, the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel is far more than just a 5-cent coin when the right pieces surface. With the highest recorded auction price around $9,900 for the MS67FS specimen, the coin clearly commands real value in the marketplace. If you have one in uncirculated condition with strong strike, crisp detail, and excellent surfaces, you should hold on to it, examine it, maybe even get it graded. On the other hand, if your coin shows wear or weak strike, enjoy it for what it is, but understand it likely stays at a modest premium. For you, the American coin enthusiast, the takeaway is, always look closely at your 1964 D. Jefferson nickels. Flip them, examine the mint mark, examine Monticello, check details. That 5-cent piece might just turn into a high-value collectible. Stay vigilant, protect your coins, and you could be holding something special. Next up, the 1989 Jefferson nickel with a P. Mint mark might look like just another 5-cent piece you find in your change, but believe it or not, under the right conditions this coin can hold real value for American coin collectors, and that means you should pay attention if you own one. Many people see a 1989 P. Jefferson nickel and assume it's worthless beyond face value because the mintage was high. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 898,812,000 of these coins in 1989. With numbers that large, you would think there's no treasure here, but you'd be wrong. The value shift comes from two overload factors, condition and strike detail. For the 1989 P. Jefferson nickel, collectors are especially drawn to coins that have untouched mint luster, crisp devices, strong strike, minimal contact marks, and potentially the full steps attribute on the Monticello reverse, though it isn't always highlighted. The sharpness of the reverse steps is still a major detail. According to one auction archive, the highest reported sale of a 1989 PMS grade nickel fetched about US $1,380. While that number might not match the multi-thousand-dollar rarities of earlier Jefferson nickels, the fact that a common date coin from 1989 achieved that price means one thing. This isn't just a nickel. It's a potential collectible if your specimen meets the right standards. Let's unpack all this so you can figure out whether your 1989 P coin might be in that category and whether it's worth the time and attention. Step 1. Examine strike quality. Because of the massive mintage, many 1989 P. Jefferson nickels circulated heavily or saw modest strike pressure in production, meaning many examples today have soft features, worn surfaces, or subtle deterioration. When you find one that still shows sharp relief on Jefferson's bust, clean rim and lettering, and strong definition on Monticello's reverse, that's when you're stepping into collector territory. Step 2. Look at the surfaces and overall condition. When a coin looks fresh, with original luster, minimal marks, no bag marks or significant scratches, it has higher potential. In uncirculated grades, MS60 and above, values start to rise. Step 3. Market demand. Because so many coins exist, the premium comes from the better-than-most category. You want a coin that stands out from the mass of average examples. Now let's talk numbers. For standard circulated 1989 P. Jefferson nickels, you might expect just face value or a small premium, maybe 10 or 20 cents. For uncirculated coins, without special attributes, you might see a few dollars. But then when you find an uncirculated coin with exceptional strike and surfaces, that's when we saw the top auction result of about US $1,380. That shows you what the ceiling can be, at least known to date, and that the coin truly has valuable potential in the right condition. Even though that top price is lower than older rarities, it's still meaningful for many collectors and provides hope for owners of this 1989 P example. Why does this matter for American coin collectors? Because the story here is one of hidden potential. A coin that many consider common can pay off if you dig deeper, inspect carefully, and store properly. Especially for viewers in the USA who are used to searching through change, checking collections, or inheriting old coins. The 1989 P. Jefferson nickel could be an overlooked entry in your collection with value you didn't suspect. And when the highest known sale is in the four-figure range, that's enough to make you look again. If you believe you have a 1989 P. Jefferson nickel in very good condition, here's exactly what you should do. First, examine your coin under good light and magnification. Look for any sign of wear on Jefferson's cheek, ear, hair, rim, and the Monticello reverse, especially the steps. If the coin is clearly worn or circulated, it likely falls into the common category. If it has no wear and the strike is sharp, then you could be in the uncommon high-grade bucket. Second, take note of luster and marks. If you see original mint luster, the fields look smooth with minimal contact marks, and the surfaces aren't dull or heavily scratched, then your coin is promising. Third, consider getting it graded or at least having a trusted coin dealer examine it and tell you whether it may qualify for a premium grade, for example MS65 or above, because the difference between, say, MS63 and MS65 with strike quality can mean dozens or even hundreds of dollars. Fourth, store your coin properly. Gloves or tongs, acid-free holder, avoid cleaning it. Avoid plastic flips that might induce scratches, because condition changes cost you value. Remember, even though 1989 P doesn't carry the same headline value as extremely rare dates, it stands out in the modern era as a common date with premium condition coin. Collectors love that because it means you still have a chance. And for viewers watching this video, that means your 1989 P. Jefferson nickel is worth checking, worth inspecting, and worth holding on to if it meets the criteria. Let's walk through a hypothetical scenario. You pull a 1989 P. Jefferson nickel out of a jar. You look at it and think, this looks pretty clean. Under magnification, you notice strong detail on Monticello steps. The rim is sharp. The P mint mark is crisp. Jefferson's portrait is well defined and the fields are nearly unmarred. You think it might grade MS64 or MS65. If you send it to a grading service and it comes back MS65 or higher, then you're in the sweet zone where the coin could sell for hundreds or potentially the known top of about US $1,380. That's a huge return over face value and a clear reminder to collectors. Never assume a coin is worthless simply because the date is common. One final important point. Don't be misled by bold claims or sensational headlines. Always rely on graded auction results and references. The value of your coin depends on exactly how it appears, not just the date. The top sale we referenced of US $1,380 for this date, and mintmark is the benchmark. Your coin might not reach that without qualifying details, but it could still be significantly above face value, easily hundreds in the right condition. And in the world of collecting, finding a coin that stands out among millions gives you the edge. So, in conclusion, the 1989 P. Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark is not just a nickel. It can be a collectible with real market value when it's in top condition, with the highest known auction result around US $1,380. That should get your attention. If you hold one, examine it, store it, protect it, and consider whether it deserves serious collector interest. The quiet possibility that a common coin could be something special is exactly what makes coin collecting exciting. And for American viewers, this is the opportunity right in your pocket. Next up, the 1992 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark may seem like just another 5-cent piece, but for serious American coin collectors, it represents significant hidden potential. Most 1992 P. Jefferson nickels are common and trade at or near face value, but a rare few in exceptional condition can command noteworthy premiums. And if you're watching closely, you may own one that deserves more attention. Let's begin by understanding the basic facts. The 1992 P. Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint with a mintage around 399,552,000 coins. With such a high number, most collectors view the date as common. Standard circulated examples are still worth just 5 cents or maybe $1 or $2 in average uncirculated grade. But here's where things get interesting. When you find a 1992 P. Jefferson nickel that has exceptional strike, brilliant surfaces, minimal marks, and especially the highly desirable full steps, on the Monticello reverse, you're entering a completely different value tier. What exactly is full steps? It refers to the steps under the Monticello building on the reverse of the coin being fully defined, sharply separated, and clearly visible. On many Jefferson nickels, strike weakness or wear makes those steps faint or merged. So when you find one where those steps stand out boldly, collectors take notice. According to grading references, the 1992 P. Jefferson nickel with full steps is far less common than typical examples. In fact, the pricing for full steps versions rises significantly. Recent guides show MS67 full steps examples bringing strong market bids. Now let's look at the highest auction result known for this coin. For the 1992 P. Jefferson nickel full steps variety, the highest recorded auction price on file is around US $1,725 for an example graded MS67 FS. That number might seem modest compared to ultra-rare coins, but for a modern date, nickel it proves that serious value can exist when the coin meets those peak criteria. If you're holding a 1992 P. Jefferson nickel, here's how to evaluate whether yours might be one of those premium examples. Step 1. Condition. Check for wear. If you see flattening on Jefferson's cheek, ear, or hair, or if Monticello's reverse shows scuffing, you're likely in the more common tier. Step 2. Strike quality and steps. Flip the coin and examine Monticello's steps closely on the reverse. Count the steps. Look for separation and clarity. If they appear bold, clean, and deep, that's a positive sign for full steps. Step 3. Surfaces and luster. A coin that displays original mint luster, smooth fields, flat open areas, with minimal contact marks or bag marks, and no cleaning or damage shows the kind of preservation that earns premium value. Step 4. Inspect a mint mark and rim. A crisp P mint mark, sharp rim, well-defined lettering all contribute. If your coin checks all these boxes, you may have a piece worthy of serious consideration. But let's be realistic. Although the top auction price is around US $1,725, the vast majority of 1992 P. Jefferson nickels won't reach that level. Value guides show that most uncirculated examples without full steps trade in the low dollar range. What this means for you as an American collector is that you have opportunity. Because the date is common, many coins were overlooked, misgraded, or left unsearched. If you dig deeper, you might uncover one of the better ones. The key is never to assume common date equals no value. Instead, assume common date, rare condition. Now, let's talk about the market dynamics that enable this value. A coin like the 1992 P. Jefferson nickel with full steps and MS67 grade appeals to advanced collectors who chase high-grade versions of otherwise common coins. It's the better-than-most factor that drives demand. When supply in those high grades is limited, even a modern-date nickel can draw serious bidding. The U.S. market loves stories where everyday coins turn into rare finds, and this coin fits that narrative. That's why it's valuable to pay closer attention to your change, your collections, inherited coins. You might hit more than you expect. Here's a practical scenario. You open a box of old coins or inherited change. You spot a 1992 P. Jefferson nickel that looks unusually sharp. Under magnification, you see Jefferson's hairlines crisp, Monticello's steps pronounced and well separated, the fields gleaming, minimal marks. You wonder, could this be a full steps MS67? You photograph it. You compare it with auction census data or grading population. You consider sending it for authentication and grading. If it comes back certified MS67FS, you might hold a coin that could fetch around US $1,700 or more, based on recorded auction history. That's not just face value. That's something meaningful. Of course, value isn't guaranteed. Many coins don't meet the high criteria. Some may look nice but lack the sharp strike or steps. Some may have unnoticed damage, toning issues, or contact marks that reduce their appeal. This is why grading and referral to reliable reference lists matter. But this case demonstrates an important coin collecting principle. You don't always need a rare date. You need a rare quality for that date. For American viewers, especially, this is exciting. The 1992 P. Jefferson nickel represents a reachable target. You don't need to hunt century-old coins with tiny mintages. You just need to look carefully at what most people overlook. Many casual collectors walk past boxes of nickels, assuming they're worthless. But if you pause and examine the details, you might find the one that stands apart. That's what this coin teaches. And let me stress this. When you claim a coin is valuable, you provide proof. In this case, the highest auction price for a 1992 P. Jefferson nickel full steps is about US $1,725. That figure proves the ceiling of potential value. It sets the benchmark. Now your task is to examine your coin and see how closely it approaches that benchmark. If your specimen is near it, you might have something special. If it's far from it, you still might have a nice uncirculated coin worth several dollars, and that's fine too. In summary, the 1992 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark is more than just a nickel when it's in top condition. With a large mintage, you'd assume low value, but rarity comes from quality, not date alone. The highest known auction result of US $1,725 for a full steps MS67 example confirms that potential. If you believe you have one of the better examples, perform a careful inspection, store it properly, avoid cleaning it, and consider professional grading. For American coin collectors, this is a fantastic hidden gem opportunity, because everyday coins can contain extraordinary value if you look closely. And before we wrap up, if you're someone who truly loves discovering valuable coins hiding in everyday change, then you absolutely don't want to miss what's coming next. After you finish this video, make sure you go watch my previous breakdown on Washington quarter dollar coins. That video is loaded with real information that every collector in America should know, and it will help you spot high-value quarters that most people overlook. If today's coin helped you learn something new, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button and share this video with friends, family, or anyone who enjoys searching for rare coins. And I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a comment below. Tell me what coins you want to see next, or if you've ever found a valuable piece in your own change. Your support helps this channel grow, keeps these educational videos coming, and creates a stronger community of American collectors. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.